What position are you running for?
I'm running for social chair.
The president of the band.
I'm running for band president.
I'm running for social chair.
I'm running for president.
Spirit chair.
Why would or wouldn't you be ideal for this position?
I think I'm ideal for this position because I get along with everyone really well in Bandly I get along really well with my little band family. And also my goal as social chair would be to make sure that as the year goes on, all the parties aren't just in the summer.
I think I would be ideal for this position just because I'm very connected with the band. I'm very one-on-one connected with each person in the band. I think I'm approachable enough so that each person will be able to talk to me about what they want, which is, of course, the first thing that a president should do. Second is I have a lot of ideas that I want implemented into the band program. I want there to be more student involvement than there is now, and better ways that students can express their ideas that they have for the band.
I feel like I would be ideal for this position because I feel like I could improve upon an already great recipe and that I could bring a couple of new things to the table.
I think I'd be ideal for this position because we could have more fun get-togethers, and it would help the band members bond and become a bigger family.
Well, I think that I've held numerous leadership positions in the band and in other organizations. I feel like I definitely have some experience in that regard, and I feel like I could take the band in a very positive direction.
I mean, I would consider myself to be very spirited, so I think that being a spirit chair would really fit my personality well, better than any other position.
Changes. I would make sure that we continue to have parties throughout the year.
What changes, if any, will you make if elected?
Like I said before, I want everyone who has a leadership position or an elected leadership position to have more purpose. Like secretary, representatives, etc. A lot of them didn't do that much just because they weren't asked to. And I feel like there's a lot that we could do to make them do more.
Honestly, as I said earlier, I wouldn't make any major changes because I know that the foundation that we have is good.
I think we should just have more fun get-togethers to help the freshmen get to know all the upperclassmen and help everyone bond.
Well, if elected, I think that I would definitely work with the other elected leaders much more closely. I'd make sure that band is an overall enjoyable experience because when it comes down to it, one of the reasons why we all do band, I mean, there's really two reasons we do band. One is to play beautiful music and be solid musicians, and the other is to have a good time. So I think that that would be really, I'd work on cooperating with the other instructional leaders and the elected leaders in really making it the most enjoyable experience for the band and and letting us really be a solid marching band and concert band for that matter.
What changes, if any, will you make if elected?
I think I would just preserve the spirit that the band has, and Spirit Chair deals a lot with pep rallies and social events, so I think I could really help with the logistics of those and make them easier to plan so we could have more.
If elected, what, if anything, will you do to preserve the environment?
I would do a rain dance, so when it gets really dry and hot outside, it'll start raining.
Well, of course, Bandlandia is a very important part of the band. And I feel like outdoors, Bandlandia should be preserved. And one way of doing this is to make sure everyone knows about Bandlandia because it is a very important thing for our program.
To preserve the environment, I will make sure that everyone is cooperating, first of all. And second of all, I'll make sure that everyone's opinion is heard and that it's, of course, considered and just taken to the bank, so to speak.
We can recycle our extra music papers that we don't need.
Well, to preserve the environment, I would make sure that we all follow the example of a Mr. Miles Iola and drive energy-efficient cars that are truly the pinnacle of all machinery.
I'll make sure that we recycle all of our, if we go out to a picnic or to some meal, I'll make sure that we recycle them and throw them away.
With which political party do you most identify?
The Bandlandia Party, founded by George Wheeler.
Well, can you list them off or no? Is that... Okay, well, I got a bunch of Canadian political parties that I got to choose from. I think Pirates would be a fun one, right? That was probably my top pick, because Federalists weren't on there, and I know A-Push, you gotta do the Federalists, but if I couldn't pick from American pre-19th century political parties, thank you, Mrs. Jones, I would pick Pirates.
I identify with the Marxist-Leninist Party.
I don't know. The Canada Party.
Although I have strong ties to the Pirate Party of Denmark, it's a real thing, look it up. I would say Marxist, you know. I really identify with Mr. Karl Marx.
No comment.
What do you think the marching show theme for next year will be?
I think it's going to be Stalin.
What do you want it to be?
I want it to be a mix between the Backyardigans and SpongeBob.
What do you think the marching show theme for next year should be?
That's a good question. What it should be, I think I'd go with Bethanne on this one, most likely, and do a Disney, just because that'd be so much fun. But sadly, that's copyrighted, so I don't think we can do that. I think that two things that I would think would be really cool is kind of a masquerade idea or an espionage kind of spy idea.
The marching show theme for next year, I think, should probably be John Stevenson Bad Boy, if I had to pick one, but, you know.
This is just my personal opinion, but I think it should be red carpet themed. With celebrities and movies.
For next year, I think we could do a plethora of things. I think a show centering entirely on worms would be a good idea. I think a show centering on the life and times of Mr. Corey Parks would be fascinating. Truly we could do a documentary style on that one, and there's really some rich material there. I feel like that would be a solid choice.
Alcatraz / prison themed.
How would the expansion of CSIS powers, without additional oversight, as described in Bill C-51, the Anti-Terror Act, affect a multiculturalist nation?
I feel uncomfortable answering that question. It hits me personally, and I think I'm gonna start crying.
How would the expansion of CSIS powers without additional oversight as described in Bill C-51, the Anti-Terror Act, affect a multiculturalist nation?
I feel like it would, if it's an anti-terrorist act, I feel like it would affect the nation positively. But of course, you have to put whatever benefits Bandlandia the most into mind.
How would the expansion of CSIS powers without additional oversight, as described in Bill C-51, the Anti-Terror Act, affect a multiculturalist nation?
Honestly, I believe that it would completely undermine the values of a multinational nation, and I feel that it is completely detrimental to the success of the people. And yeah.
I do not know. It would affect it positively.
How would the expansion of CSIS powers without additional oversight, as described in Bill C-51, the Anti-Terror Act, affect a multicultural nation?
Well, Bill C-51 is a very, very interesting bill. It's something that I read through on a nightly basis before I go to bed. I like to just kind of sit by my fire, drink a warm glass of milk, and read that bill over, because the Anti-Terror Act is very, very important to me. You know, national security is something that I hold in a very high regard, and I feel like it would affect a multicultural nation, because when you have cultures mixing, you are bound to have one or two extremists, and you need to take measures to protect the rest of the population from those extremists. Not necessarily overly sensitive or crazy measures, because let's be real here, we're not all extremists, and we don't need to treat the entire population like they're ones, but there needs to be regulations and protection set and fail-safes, if you will, for the rest of the population.
How would the expansion of CSIS powers without additional oversight, as described in Bill C-51, the Anti-Terror Act, affect a multiculturalist nation?
No comment.
Okay, we're back. Bethanne is recuperated. How specifically would your being in this position make band different, if at all?
It would not make band different. I'm kidding. It would. I would make sure that everyone's ideas are included and everyone has a good time at the parties, and that also we get a better chance for the upperclassmen and the younger-classmen to mix. So vote for me, younger-classmen, little babies, the fishies. Vote for me next year.
How specifically would you being in this position make band different, if at all?
I feel like it would make band different because the people who want to be involved in band would actually try really hard to be involved, and then once they were elected to or got the position to do so, they would actually be able to do what they want to, express their ideas, express what they think band should be improved, and then band will be improved by those ways that they have mentioned.
Well, as I stated earlier, we have a very, very strong foundation in this program that's already been built up by wonderful people. So I wouldn't make any major changes. I would just bring new ideas and new exciting things to the table that I feel like we can incorporate.
How specifically would your being in this position make band different, if at all?
I think it would just help us become a bigger family, and we'd have more fun and just be a better band.
How specifically would your being in this position make band different in the coming year?
Well, I think that if I would be elected to this position, then I would enslave everyone in the band. I would make sure that Trumparside is fully enforced, and that we all follow the model of the truly great nation, Bandlandia. And through cooperation, I feel like we can achieve our goals.
How specifically would your being in this position make band different, if at all?
I think that I could really pep up the band, especially in like hard times, like towards the end of marching band camp. It's pretty difficult to keep everybody alive and like keep them going with lots of energy. And I think Mary did a great job with the spirit stick last year, and I want to do something like that again next year to keep everybody pepped up.
Is there anything not previously mentioned that you'd like the band to know about you and your application for this position?
I think I'm qualified for this position because in the first grade, I went to Fossil Rim and I was feeding the zebra and it bit me. So that's why I'd be qualified.
Okay.
Thanks.
Is there anything not previously mentioned that you would like the band to know about you and your application for this position?
Well, I would just like to reiterate that I am in full support of Bandlandia, and I really love that idea. And I want the band to know that I try my hardest to keep us a tight-knit, close group that everyone is included in. And I love band, as everyone knows, and I feel like if I was president, I would further the love for band for more people.
Thank you.
Whatever the other candidates can do, I can trumpet.
Vote for me for social chair. That's it.
Well, I hope that they know that I have a sense of humor. And, I don't know. I think that's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I really think that I'd be a great candidate. I'm always spirited, and I feel like I could do more for this band in that position than anybody else could, and I really hope that I have your vote.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Parks, do you have some good things to say about Bandlandia?
Good things to say about Bandlandia.